everybody. I want to give you some feedback on your sites. I like to go through these as a first-time user. Even if I've looked at them before, and I have, I want to check out the usability and the friendliness, the aesthetics, things like that, the layout, and give you my impression as a first-time user. So this is clean. It's a good site. It's organized nicely. There is some reflow issues here because you've got it left and right aligned, so just left align that. I wouldn't make these links at this place on this particular homepage because it's going to lead people away from your site. The temptation to click on it is really strong. So the same thing when it comes to, sending people to YouTube. We want to have the videos embedded for that reason. This is good. Not a lot of space between here, but it's okay. I feel like you don't want these separated. It keeps it clean as long as we know that it is actually a part of this. We know that it is. We want to make sure someone else knows that too. So these are going to your sites. That's important. You have your update here on your copyright. That's important. You have your home here, which means that's our options. I definitely want to see a little more navigation. Okay. Something that says your works and leads us to productions. You'll want to clean up your titles and things so we don't have too much lettering overlapping. This is good. This is good. This starts to get a little busy. Okay. I like to make the icons land just right. So if you have another image, I love this image, but if you have another one that doesn't cover his face with the icon, that would be good too to think about. Okay, it's a little lightweight, but it's okay. Yeah, so that's the main thing, I think, is the reflow there. Yeah. All right. It is a great start. Okay, good start. I feel like this is an ADI, which is fine, but you won't be able to adapt it very much. You won't be able to change things, and that's okay. Everyone, make sure you go through and check your content and make sure that you've got a spell checker and grammar check for that. We need to remove these because they're placeholders. Everything that's a placeholder needs to come out, and we want to see your digital art portfolio. That's what we need to see. Okay. Let's update this to 2020, Charles. And, if you have to, create a still life, a setup that looks like this and photo it, but we definitely need to see your design work. So maybe when we go here, we'll see it, but we want to see it on your page as well. So yeah, remove what you've got on there now, and let's start looking at some of these other things. And I'm going to tell you what I tell other people. Well, first we want to make sure we're not cropping our thumbnails. I know if we click on it, we're going to see it just fine, but we can't. This is a page and we need to think about it visually. So make sure that that everything is legible. Okay. Some are not as easy to read, and I'm not sure you need this. I think that these are pretty strong, and this almost pulls it down because it's busy. So this seems a little out of place by comparison. The other thing mock-ups are really good. I think you're using one for your t-shirts maybe, and that's good. And I'm going to recommend mock-ups later too. I think this may need to be a little bigger. And okay, I think this might be your resume, and that will have to be entered because it's not searchable. All right. I recommend, and this is fine as long as you enter that text onto a page. I recommend, if you don't have a resume, everybody to go to LinkedIn and enter your information there, and then copy that out to be part of your resume so you have a consistent order, and it will help guide you too as a template, so to speak. Yeah. We need a contact page. Okay, nice. Did that. Okay. Yeah, so I think we just want to make this a little less important and make, I mean, this is a beautiful font with this. We just need images that are yours because of the type of work that you do. We expect to see original work, all right? Great start. All right, and so this one looks really good. The layout is nice. You have the navigation disappearing, which is okay because it's short. It's not a deep page. That's okay. And these are fun shots. This is the only thing is, we've got some overlapping font here as well, so you want to look at that. Otherwise, it's laid out really well. Maybe this could be bigger. Maybe you want it in red. Anyway, this looks great. It's all good. There's a little bit of scrolling for your about, but it's all right. It's okay in this situation because it also brings us down to this. This is a little dark for a thumbnail, and the lighting, you guys always make sure is on the face or between the camera and the object, generally. And then you'll, of course, fill these out. But otherwise, these are great. Okay. And I feel like these should link to those videos, but not YouTube. You don't want to send people away from your site. So those that are on your site. Okay. And we'll see this template again, but you did a good job with it. You only need, because it's a short page, let's just use your social media in either the top or the bottom. All right? All right. Good job. Catherine, I love that you have this locked. It's frozen. This font isn't speaking to me exactly. Maybe it needs to be that size. These need to come over left, I think. Take this off. And I think these need to be either a side-by-side that just has before and after underneath. Maybe, maybe this is the same column. Maybe this is, they're stacked on top of each other, and this is just, 1, 2, or they could be over here. See if you have other work for that. This is a little light. I do like where you have your, design tools here. I just feel like we were using a number of different fonts. Now, here's something I really want you to do that's going to make this different. I want this on one line for your phone number and bring it up. And you probably want a contact form. I would like to see some mock-ups. I think that if you were to use a phone mock-up, an iPhone or something like that, and put your social media in that, you're going to like it. Okay, so you could put a couple of phones here or 3 phones, but or even across this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you put that in there, it's gonna look better probably. And this is a little hard to read. I think it's just font. Plus, the kerning gets funny with this one. Like, it needs to be closed up just a little. And I would love to see this closed up a little. Maybe these have to be bigger, but not so much white space between them on the page. Maybe white isn't the color that you want. Go ahead and go through this. This would have a comma, for example, a period here. Go through all these things, and yeah, and try to, when you anchor to this page, maybe contact is bigger, maybe we don't see that. Now, looking at this one, this navigation really works. I would like to see this navigation, right? And maybe that's what you want, is the black and purple. Yeah, so these apparently aren't your photos, and maybe this is something you wanted to link to, but I think branding that way would be better for you. And you could make buttons like that. Okay, I think that's what you need. Or you're going to want to merge a few of these things, like your resume or something. But look at both of them and take the best, all right, from each. All right, you're linked up, so that's good. I just feel like this needs to be a font that goes more with, a sans serif that's a little more lighthearted and cartoon, because we've got a couple of different things going on here, kind of elegant and gaming. Not to say that you can't be a high heel gamer, be elegant, but it's just they're not going together here. All right. But I do love this too. That writing is more of what you want as well. I think this was 2016. Yeah, so the best of both would be good. All right, so this is a really great template, Mark. I'm wondering where you live, because if you could take a photo like this and make it a sepia tone, that would be better, because this isn't your work, and as a filmmaker, you have to use your work. People expect that. If we were recording arts or something, then they don't expect us to have a visual that's original, but being in film, they do. And I want to say I looked at this and saw where you're from. Okay. I think you want to bring this over a little bit, which means, yes, you'll bring those over a little bit, but try and get that on one line. So we bring that up, okay? It seems minor, but putting it together, it's going to make sense. So the news, disable that page because you don't have news there. News is a great place to put behind the scenes of, jobs that you're working on or things like that. Okay. And it seems that you would be able, looking at some of the places you've been, maybe you have a panorama shot of something that you can make a sepia and put back here. Okay, but that's going to be important for you. But everything else looks great. Okay, all right, good job. All right. I feel like your work is competing with this. Maybe it needs to be a little bigger. Maybe this needs to fade away. And yeah, okay. And you're going to need to update your work and remove everything that is template. Everything. That's really important. I don't want to see a trace of the template when you're finished. All right? All right, so that's your job, to populate with your content. All right. Okay. Again, let's be careful with, I don't know if this is your footage or not, but I'm thinking it might be from Wix. If it is, you want to remove it because it just slows things down. It's taking away a little bit from your images because your images are interiors, for example. So it doesn't feel like this is supposed to be stormy, So be careful about that. At least your thumbnail is like that. You might also try, instead of have this be your thumbnail, all right, and maybe use that same font up here that you use here. I would rather get into it quicker like this, which I guess that means your navigation would be here and the page that you're on, that you tell us about, would be here, but I do want to get into it quicker. All right, so you've got interesting footage. Okay, you just want to make sure your thumbnails are the best. Okay, because that title, this is not the best, this title, because it's a cooler blue, but it's also not, doesn't look like it was made in Illustrator, or, it doesn't have clean lines to it exactly. But really close, and you put all of your asset guide in there, that's great. So you really have most of it figured out. This is going to be hard to read with this background because sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's even darker. So that's something to think about when you talk about that background, all right? And we go here, good, you've put these things, again, use thumbnails that are really going to sell. Make sure there's padding around everything, you guys. Plenty of padding around your text. Very good, 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 good. Make sure you have the same amount of space. Here it's, I don't know if you can put one line. Maybe just use this instead of that because, you want to stay consistent. I know it's the title. This gets hard to find, so you might want to rethink that page. This needs to come out, it's a placeholder, and you need to put one of your images, all right? But great photo, love it. You're on the right track. This font, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't use the drop shadow that's white behind it. I understand you're trying to make it stand out. I get that. It looks like it's stretched a little. Maybe that it's just a narrow font, but it looks a little stretched. Works great here. It's just in that beginning. And this I wouldn't use because you see, it's not real clean. And in some places when it's reduced, it looks like it's closing up. Okay. So I wouldn't go for that. And we've got too many fonts on the same page. Okay. Everybody just use 2 fonts throughout. Just 2 fonts. All right. All right. This one, go through and read. I think you mean to say realize here, and this say the same thing basically, about college and being a video editor and being a video editor. So just use one of those lines. And more content. We want to see, this doesn't appear to be working, so disable that. And this didn't appear to be working either. So we definitely need to see your examples of your work. All right, so that's the next big push that you'll be working on. I think you're working on your mobile sites this week, but you're going to have to do this before you get to your mobile site. Everybody's going to have to make sure they're caught up with their content on their desktop. Okay, so this one, I believe it needs to be that the navigation should be frozen. Okay, and it's not hard on Wix. Just use those question marks they give you, and you'll go up to the header and click it, and it will give you an option to freeze. But you got to be careful because sometimes there's a few places you can click and you'll have to hunt for that sometimes. I think this would be nice, not green, but I just noticed that. I would like to see Aught large and maybe production under it. What happens is the productions, this is why I want you to freeze it. It's covering things up. This is covering your face, things like that. Make sure you fix that. Yeah, so I would make that bigger and put that underneath it. This, of course, is going to change. Okay, I do think you're going to want to stick with the purple in places where you have green. And I think for you, maybe white's not the answer. Maybe the answer is a charcoal or light gray. And of course, this would then have to go white probably, but I think you've got two different purples here, but I think one of the purples, black and a gray, a little lighter than this, would make a nice combo. Okay, and not that. Okay. You see the edges on your buttons? We want to be consistent with that. And those of you who have played Can't Unsee, you'll start to notice those things. So you want to be consistent about that. All right, I kind of think if this is your image, that's okay, but I think we want to get into some content, either a sample or something besides this for all your editing needs. So that's good. That at least tells me that as you do here, that your film editor. So yeah, a lot of white space here and a lot of space here. Just keep it in mind as you're working. All right. The social media doesn't appear to be on every page. It's here, and you want to set them towards your social media, of course. Make sure that's not there. Maybe you left a line and put that up here and wrap it. Left a line with this. All right, good start. Okay, Jamie, I'm wondering if this, try this all caps and see. I feel like there's a little bit too much space between some, but try it. On your portraits, you have all caps as you do on your portfolio, but you have upper lower on your travel. So you want to make those all caps. These are gorgeous if they're yours. I would like to see them probably a little bigger so we don't have this big space right in the middle where our eye is also, including this, and it's bare. Let's see. Make sure you name your files so they don't have a JPEG, hopefully. Okay, that's very large, but it's good. That one took a while to load, I think. I could be wrong. It could be that it's just faded when we start. Okay. Yeah. And if you can make that smaller. maybe move it a little. Okay, I was thinking it's fine, but there's a lot of white space here. Great image. I was thinking maybe you want a gray and with white text. You'd have to try it, but it just seemed a little stark here. But it's good. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, mostly this. Okay. All right. Make sure these go to yours, or if you don't have those currently, disable them or make your Instagram or something. Okay. These are going to Combat Camera Studio. So that's the first. Let's see, is that here? Okay. So check those out. All caps, all caps, all caps. All right. All right. Just a few details, right? All right, good job. Okay. I feel like there's a lot of space here, Goodside Studio. I think that this could come up here, and this could go away. This isn't yours, so you don't have to keep it. And if I remember, yeah, it's on every page. We don't want to do that because then, especially if it were deeper, because then people don't know if they've changed to another page or not. It's a little confusing. They have to like double check. I like this a lot. I think I'd like to get into it this fast and then use this pattern for everything. For your about, you would have the about up here. Okay. I'd have about up here and not there. This I would not have here. I would have your name, probably smaller. And I would not have this on the front page because you already have it here, and it makes us think that maybe you didn't take that shot because, you may have, but I don't think we want to duplicate like that. Great shot, great shots. I think you need a thumbnail here and good contact. So I think really it's this background. You don't need that. I think it doesn't really go with your aesthetic. I think this would be fine, and do that on every page, and then use this font for your name underneath it probably. But think about that. And WD is not really explained to me. I don't understand it unless it's the template. Okay, so selected clients, I guess we're going to have to remove that and just go here. Okay, all right. A few important changes, and it's going to be completely different. Update this to the year, and this is going to Facebook, so you want to link that to yours once you get your brand going, which looks like it's going to be this bold black and white and pink. Okay, that's what it seems it's going to be, not so much this. This, when you bring it up here, try it in bold. Try it. Okay, for this one, I wasn't sure. We have a number of pages, and perhaps you plan on filling all that out. Otherwise, those need to be disabled. What we have on the front, we need a little more explanation, a little bit here. What you do, you've got this, but we still need to say it, whether it's visual storytelling or And if that's a placeholder, that has to come out. Anything that isn't yours must come out. All right. And so if you plan on doing this as a style, okay. Sometimes that means you need to duplicate it someplace else. Okay, I feel like, okay. Yeah, and you'll want to, get rid of all this empty space as well. All right. But the navigation and everything in this looks good. It's just that we don't have anything that we're getting into when someone clicks there that says set design, that shows us that. All right. All right. So, make sure that you fill all this out and get it all original before you move on to your mobile this weekend. And you guys, I found out last night that somebody was, putting off the project till the evening and that it was due. And I'd have to tell you guys, those projects on, week 1-3 that you just finished, the mobile, the revisions, those take 7 to 14 hours. Those are your weekend projects for this class. If you can do it quicker, great. If you're almost there, great. But if not, if it's kind of new to you, it will be less stressful if you just block out that time to do that so that you can, make a mistake or change it if you need to or what have you. But that's going to make it much more pleasant for you. Do not wait till the night it's due. These are not that type of assignments. This is senior level and a 400 level course. And so we're required to require you to work a certain amount of hours individually. So that is part of that. And it really concerns me if somebody waits till the last minute, because I cannot imagine how much stress they must be under at that point. So I don't want you to be stressed. Please leave plenty of time. All right. Okay. This image needs to go. These are good. Line things up here. Line things up here and here. Good, good, good. It's okay. I kind of want to see it lined up, but it's okay. Let's freeze this header. Okay, so we're not overlapping anything. Guys, make sure that all of your links are working. All your buttons that say more. Happens a lot that they're not really going anywhere. Let's take this out. This is going to be locked. Okay. Okay, so let's say work somewhere. Let's give some subheadings, some hierarchy, so that we can tell, we have it here. A little bit too much space, but let's also put here works, and maybe that moves because it's just going to your about. So let's take that off. We're going to probably bring everything up. I do like this. I think we're going to bring most everything up. Make sure this aligns. And can move that over here and put a header here that says work and link it to that. So when you hit it, it goes right here. And all of those things like, trying to figure out how to anchor something with your navigation. It's not hard. You just, go into Wix Help and say, what's an anchor? And it's going to give you so many options. And it's going to perhaps give you a quick little video that tells you exactly where the menu is for that and how to do it. So just allow yourself time to ask the questions that you may specifically need, because it's all right there in your editor. It's super easy. All right. All right, see, this is a good page. It's broken up nicely. This needs to be a little heavier font, little darker. But this is a nice page. Nothing's overlapping, all right? Although I have to scroll down for the social media and they're going to Wix. So you either have to disable those or make sure that they go to yours. All right? All right. Positive creation. So the buttons, that needs to go to your contact page. Make sure you're linking your buttons. And let's not use placeholders unless they're mock-ups that you are putting your own work on. But if you're a graphic designer, you're going to put just your graphic design work only. Okay? And I have reason to believe this is not. So take all those out and put your work. Okay? You've chosen a good template. Now let's take out the template. No one gets a very good grade, you guys, if the template is still there. I'm sorry to say. I'm warning you now because I don't want you to be surprised. Okay? Our goal is to help you get, set up so that when you graduate, you can send someone to your site to see a little bit about what you do. All right? And that's really important to me, that you have that. So let's work together on that. Core, you're going to take this out. That's the template. There's a few things that are template. And, I thought a student had come up with this, but it's the template. And here's a good example. Not every template has every detail that's right. I've seen typos in templates. This doesn't make sense. Let's get rid of this. It says, so we can create creative projects together. We don't usually use the same word create twice. It's so similar. You can say, so we can make creative projects together, so we can design creative projects together, so we can create projects together, anything but doing both of these twice. All right? Not your fault. It's in the template. This font's a little hard to read for sure. It's a little small. That style. And these are good. It's better if you have one line. If you're going to have one here and one here, better to have one line here. And I think you can do that with what you have there. This is hard to read, so we want to make sure it's as easy to read as this is. Okay, links are working. Okay, so that link isn't quite right, right? Maybe that needs to come out. Again, this font hard to read, so you want to get something consistent there. This comes out, okay, unless you have gear that you're going to talk about. I think you do have gear. If you're from DCBS, you do. But if you're not going to have it in there, it really needs to be disabled because you don't want that in there when I'm grading. Okay? It's real easy to disable it. Okay. Again, just the font, but everything else is great. This is not your image. You want to do something about that. Take all this out. This is a placeholder. So you can make it stop right here, and that would be fine. We don't need a lot of scrolling. We don't even want a lot of scrolling. Take this out, disable that, just delete it. Okay. Okay. All right. So a few things that need to be done. You guys start by taking out the template and disabling pages that aren't active, and then you're going to know what you have to work with. And all right, make sure your fonts are legible and you have examples of your work. All right. They don't have to, you don't need many. That's why I say 3 to 6. People aren't going to usually spend a lot of time on sites. They just want to have a good idea of what you can do. All right. All right, everybody. Overall, I think you're doing a great job. I'm excited. I think you're going to be able to finish this out, and you'll be working on your mobile, which is really just going to be layout, making sure that your menu's not overlapping anything, making sure that there's not big spaces and gaps, that the font is legible, make sure everything's left aligned as far as, your body copy, those kinds of things. All right. All right. I look forward to seeing that, and I will be in touch with you soon. Good job, everybody.